Hey guys, tonight we're diving into one of history's most enduring puzzles, a mystery so ancient it makes your granddad's "Where are my glasses?" dilemma seem like rocket science. We're going to unravel the secrets of how those colossal Egyptian pyramids were built, those magnificent structures that have stood for millennia, silently mocking our modern construction techniques. Imagine trying to build something so enormous, so precise without a single forklift crane or even a decent cup of coffee. You'd probably give up after the first stone, crawl into a sarcophagus, and declare yourself an honorary mummy just to escape the sheer effort. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, tell me where you're listening from tonight and what time it is for you. Are you winding down after a long day in Cairo or just waking up in a sleepy little town in Nebraska? Let me know in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey. Together, you close your eyes and suddenly, the warm, dry air of ancient Egypt brushes against your skin. The faint scent of dust and something vaguely animalistic hangs in the air, a blend that would probably send your modern allergies into overdrive. You're standing on the edge of a vast, bustling construction site, unlike anything you've ever seen. No hard hats, no high-vis vests, just a sea of tanned, muscular bodies moving with a rhythmic, almost hypnotic precision. The sun, a relentless, golden orb, beats down from a sky so impossibly blue it almost hurts your eyes. You squint, trying to take it all in, the sheer scale of the undertaking. This isn't just a construction project. It's an entire ecosystem, a living, breathing testament to human will, or perhaps sheer stubbornness. For centuries, when you thought of the pyramids, your mind probably conjured images of thousands upon thousands of slaves toiling under the brutal lash of overseers. It's a compelling narrative, isn't it? The downtrodden masses forced to build monuments for tyrannical pharaohs. But lean closer, my sleepy friend, because tonight we're going to gently peel back that popular misconception. The truth, as it often is far more nuanced, and perhaps a little more interesting. Imagine for a moment that you are one of these workers, but instead of being a shackled captive, you are a skilled laborer, perhaps even a farmer whose land is submerged during the annual flooding of the Nile. This seasonal unemployment wasn't a curse, it was an opportunity. The pharaoh, in his infinite wisdom and need for an eternal resting place, provided food, shelter, and even a bit of beer. Yes, ancient Egyptian beer, probably closer to a thick, nutritious gruel than your crisp, modern lager, but still a perk. This wasn't a life of absolute misery, but one of structured hard work, fueled by a deep-seated belief in the divine nature of their ruler and the afterlife. You can almost hear the rhythmic chanting, a low, guttural hum that reverberates through the air, providing a strange kind of soundtrack to the endless toil. It's a mantra, a collective breath used to synchronize movements, to lift and pull in unison. This wasn't just about brute force, it was about coordination and teamwork, on a scale that would make modern project managers weep with envy. Each worker, from the humble quarryman to the meticulous stone dresser, played a vital role in this grand symphony of construction. You might wonder, with a gentle yawn, about the sheer logistics of feeding such a massive workforce. We're talking about tens of thousands of people, sometimes up to 100,000, depending on the phase of construction. It wasn't just about bread and beer. There were fish from the Nile, vegetables grown in fertile fields, and even some meat. Archaeologists have uncovered the remains of entire towns built specifically to house and feed these workers, complete with bakeries, breweries, and even rudimentary medical facilities. It was a well-oiled machine, meticulously planned and executed, a testament to the organizational prowess of the ancient Egyptians. You'd think with all that effort, they'd at least have invented a decent takeaway menu. And speaking of food, you remember that odd detail about the kem chong nang lam tu fan cha sao I mentioned in another episode, don't you? Well, thankfully, these pyramid builders probably weren't slathering themselves with that particular concoction. Their protection from the sun came from simpler, though perhaps equally uncomfortable, methods. Linen kilts, vast straw hats, and probably a healthy dose of sun-induced resignation. The air thickens with the dust of ages, mingling with the sweat of tireless labor. You feel a strange sense of awe mixed with a touch of exhaustion, just imagining the sheer scale of the endeavor. The whispers of the desert wind carry tales of devotion, ingenuity, and a collective dream of eternity. It's a world away from your cozy bed, but somehow just as real. Many historians still debate the exact number of workers involved and how long the average shift was, but one thing is clear: it was a colossal human undertaking, far beyond what most of us can truly grasp. It wasn't just building, it was an act of faith, a profound commitment to the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife. As you stand there observing the scene, the initial shock of the scale begins to subside, replaced by a quiet curiosity. You notice something peculiar about the workers. They aren't shambling, downtrodden figures. Instead, there's a certain proud erectness in their posture, a focused intensity in their eyes as they heave and pull. It's almost as if they believe they are part of something truly grand, something that will echo through eternity. And in a way, they were absolutely right. The idea of the workers being paid in beer and grain isn't just a quaint historical anecdote. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle that dismantles the slave labor narrative. Imagine working all day, muscles aching, dust coating your throat, and then receiving your daily ration of a thick, nutritious beer. It wasn't exactly a five-star resort, but it was sustenance, a form of currency, and a potent motivator. This beer money system, combined with a sense of religious duty and national pride, formed the backbone of their labor force. You might find it a little strange, paying your bills with fermented barley, but hey, at least you wouldn't have to worry about credit card debt. You watch as a team of men, their torsos glistening with sweat, prepare to move an enormous block. Of stone. It's not just about raw power, it's about applied physics, rudimentary engineering, and an incredible understanding of leverage. They're not using complex machinery, but rather simple sledges, ropes made from papyrus or flax, and a liberal application of water or lubricant beneath the sledges to reduce friction. It's slow, painstaking work, each heave and pull a testament to their patience. You realize that a modern gym membership would be completely redundant if you had this as your daily commute. One fascinating detail that often gets overlooked is the concept of gangs or crews. The workers weren't just a disorganized mass. They were meticulously organized into smaller units, each with its own leader, its own responsibilities, and even its own playful names. Imagine belonging to a crew called the Drunken Ones of Menkara, or the Friends of Khufu. These names, sometimes found inscribed on the stone blocks themselves, give us a glimpse into the camaraderie and even the humorous side of this monumental undertaking. It wasn't just a job. It was a team effort, with a competitive spirit that probably involved a lot of good-natured banter, and perhaps a friendly wager or two over who could move the most stone in a day. You can almost hear the foreman, a gruff but experienced man, barking orders in a language you don't understand, but whose meaning is perfectly clear from his gestures. He points, he directs, and the men respond with practiced efficiency. There's a hierarchy, a chain of command that ensures everything runs as smoothly as possible. This was ancient project management at its finest, a masterclass in logistics. That would make modern supply chain managers green with envy. Forget your Kanban boards and agile sprints. These guys were building wonders with nothing but sheer will and ropes. Another intriguing aspect is the seasonal nature of the work. During the annual inundation of the Nile, when the floodwaters covered vast tracts of farmland, many farmers would volunteer their labor. This wasn't conscription, it was a societal contribution, a way to participate in a grand national project during a time when their agricultural duties were on hold. It provided them with food, shelter, and a sense of purpose, ensuring that the colossal undertaking had a steady supply of manpower. It was like a giant, government-sponsored summer job program, but with significantly heavier lifting and no air conditioning. You might be thinking, surely there must have been some kind of advanced technology they were hiding, some secret alien knowledge that allowed them to achieve such feats. But the evidence consistently points to human ingenuity, meticulous planning, and an unwavering commitment to the project. The simplicity of their tools belies the sophistication of their understanding of physics and engineering. They used copper, chisels, dolerite pounding stones, and wooden mallets. Imagine trying to cut massive blocks of granite with a tool that dulls after a few minutes of use. It required constant resharpening, a tedious task that was just as vital as the cutting itself. Many historians still debate the precise methods used for carving the more intricate passages and chambers within the pyramids. How did they achieve such perfect alignment and smooth surfaces with such rudimentary tools? Was there a secret hardening process for their copper tools, or perhaps a yet undiscovered technique for abrading the stone? These questions continue to fuel passionate arguments among Egyptologists, a testament to the enduring mystery of these ancient wonders. It's like trying to figure out how your great-grandma baked that perfect pie without a recipe, except on a much, much larger scale. You imagine the long hot days melting into cool star-filled nights. The workers would gather, perhaps around a flickering fire, sharing stories, dreams, and the occasional grumble about the weight of the last stone. They were building a monument to eternity, yes, but they were also living, breathing individuals, with hopes, fears, and probably a healthy appreciation for a good night's sleep after a day of hauling tons of rock. The sheer human element of it all, the collective spirit, is perhaps the most enduring and least understood aspect of the pyramid construction. It's not just about the stones, it's about the hands that shaped them, the wills that moved them, and the beliefs that inspired them. As the gentle hum of the fan blends with the imagined sounds of the ancient construction site, you find yourself pondering the sheer origin of these monumental stones. Where did they come from? It wasn't as if the pharaoh just waved a magic wand and mountains of perfectly cut limestone appeared. No, the process began far away, in quarries that were themselves feats of ancient engineering. Imagine, if you will, the bustling scene at a limestone quarry near Tura, on the eastern bank of the Nile. This is where most of the casing stones, the beautifully smooth white outer layer of the pyramids, originated. You can almost feel the fine, chalky dust coating everything, settling on your skin, catching in your throat. It's a stark contrast to the rough, darker core masonry. The air is filled with the rhythmic thud of pounding stones, the scraping of copper chisels against rock, and the occasional shouts of men coordinating their efforts. The process of extracting these colossal blocks was surprisingly simple, yet incredibly laborious. Workers would identify natural fissures in the rock, then use wooden wedges, often soaked in water, to exploit these cracks. As the wood absorbed water, it would expand, slowly but surely splitting the rock. Once a section was separated, the painstaking work of shaping and smoothing began, using tools like dolerite balls, incredibly hard, heavy stones used to pound away at the softer limestone. It's a bit like trying to sculpt a statue with a bowling ball, but with significantly more dust and considerably less artistic flair. Then there were the truly exotic stones, the ones that added a touch of regal splendor to the pharaoh's final resting place. Think of the granite from Aswan, hundreds of kilometers to the south, used for sarcophagi, burial chambers, and certain structural elements. This wasn't just a matter of chiseling. Granite is an incredibly hard, igneous rock. To work it, the Egyptians employed even tougher dolerite pounding stones, patiently abrading the surface, literally wearing it down grain by grain. It's an almost meditative process. If your idea of meditation involves hitting a rock repeatedly with another rock under the scorching sun, you might wonder how they managed to transport these multi-ton behemoths. This is where the mighty Nile River enters the story, acting as the ultimate ancient highway. Imagine the scene, massive barges, perhaps looking like giant flat-bottomed rafts, laden with these incredible stones. They weren't powered by engines, of course, but by the prevailing winds and currents. During the annual flood, when the Nile swelled and its waters reached closer to the quarry sites and the pyramid plateau, it was the perfect time for transport. It was nature's own logistical masterpiece, a benevolent assist from the river god Hapi. Visualizing these river journeys, you can almost feel the gentle sway of the barge beneath you, the cool spray of the Nile on your face, a welcome respite from the dust of the quarries, the rhythmic dipping of oars, the occasional song from the crew, the silent, majestic progress down the ancient waterway, it all paints a picture of a civilization deeply intertwined with its natural environment. It makes you think about how much we rely on asphalt roads and fossil fuels today, when nature provided such an elegant solution for them. One fascinating theory that still sparks lively debate among scholars is the idea of artificial canals being dug or extended to bring the barges even closer to the construction site. Imagine a network of temporary waterways branching off the main Nile, allowing the heavy stones to be floated almost directly to the base of the rising pyramid. While archaeological evidence for these specific canals is still being sought, the concept highlights the immense hydraulic engineering knowledge the ancient Egyptians possessed, even without modern earth-moving equipment. It's like building your own personal shortcut to the grocery store, but with much, much larger items. The sheer volume of material moved is staggering. We're talking about millions of individual blocks, each weighing anywhere from 2.5 to 15 tons, with some special blocks, like those in the King's Chamber, weighing up to 80 tons. Try to picture that amount of weight. It's equivalent to thousands of elephants all moving to one spot, one block at a time. It truly makes you wonder if they secretly had a few extra hands from another worldly dimension, or perhaps a particularly enthusiastic group of local strongmen. Many historians still debate the precise routes taken by the largest granite blocks, particularly those for the King's Chamber. Was it a direct river journey, or were there intermediate land transport stages involving massive teams of oxen or men? The logistics of moving such immense weights over any distance, let alone hundreds of kilometers, continues to be a source of academic contention and quiet wonder. It's a puzzle with so many missing pieces, yet the final result stands there, undeniable, a silent testament to their perseverance. The sun dips lower, painting the desert sky in hues of orange and purple, and a cooler breeze stirs the air. You're still on the construction site, but now your attention is drawn to the smaller, more intricate actions. It's not just about moving gargantuan blocks, it's about shaping them, making them fit together with an almost unbelievable precision. This is where the magic of ancient Egyptian craftsmanship truly comes into play. Imagine a group of skilled stone masons, their faces intent, their hands moving with practiced grace. They're not using power tools, remember? Their arsenal consists of surprisingly simple implements: copper chisels, wooden mallets, and abrasives like sand and quartzite. Copper, a relatively soft metal, might seem ill-suited for cutting hard stone. And you'd be right if they were trying to slice through it like butter. Instead, they used a combination of brute force and clever technique. For the softer limestone, a copper chisel could indeed chip away at the surface. But for harder stones like granite and diorite, the copper chisel acted more as a guide. The real work was done by abrasive powders, often made from crushed quartz or emery. They'd rub these gritty substances against the stone, sometimes with a chisel or a wooden block acting as a pusher, slowly grinding away the material. It was like an ancient, extremely slow version of sandpaper, but with a lot more elbow grease. You can almost feel the grit between your fingers, the constant friction, the endless patience required. It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most enduring. You might notice a worker meticulously inspecting the surface of a freshly cut block. He's not just checking for flaws, he's ensuring it's as flat and true as possible. How did they achieve such incredible flatness over large surfaces? This is where an often overlooked tool, the set square, or what we might call a large right angle, and leveling tools, probably made of wood or stone, came into play. They could use these to ensure perfect corners and perfectly horizontal surfaces. Imagine trying to make something perfectly flat and square without a spirit level or laser guide. It's enough to make your OCD twitch. One of the truly perplexing aspects is the precision of the joints. You've probably heard stories about how a razor blade can't fit between the blocks of the Great Pyramid. While that might be a slight exaggeration, the fit was astonishingly tight, especially considering the scale. This suggests an incredible level of skill and meticulous attention to detail. It wasn't just about cutting the stone, it was about dry-fitting each piece, making tiny adjustments, and then maybe even giving it a final polish. It's the kind of precision that makes you wonder if they had some secret ancient cheat code for alignment. You might also observe the use of water in the cutting process. While it's not definitively proven for all types of stone, some theories suggest that water was used to lubricate the cutting surface, helping to carry away debris and reduce friction, making the abrasive process more efficient. It also would have helped keep the copper chisels cooler, preventing them from deforming too quickly. It's a small detail, but sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference, much like adding a dash of salt to a dish to really bring out the flavor. Many historians still debate the exact techniques used for the final finishing and polishing. Of the casing stones, how did they achieve that gleaming, almost mirror-like finish that would have made the pyramids shimmer under the desert sun? Was it simply extensive rubbing with finer abrasives, or were there some unknown compounds involved? The answers remain elusive, adding another layer to the enigma of their craftsmanship. It's like trying to figure out how they got those perfect streak-free windows without Windex. As the day turns to night, you might see the workers gathering their tools, carefully storing them away. These weren't disposable items. They were valuable handcrafted implements, essential for their livelihood. The care they took of their tools speaks volumes about their respect for their craft. It wasn't just a job, it was a calling, a legacy. You realize that even in this ancient world, the quality of your tools mattered. A lesson that still holds true today, even if your tools are now mostly digital. The quiet pride in their work, the dedication to achieving perfection with the simplest means, is a testament to their enduring ingenuity. As the desert air cools to a pleasant crispness, your mind drifts to the most visually iconic and perhaps most perplexing aspect of pyramid construction, how they actually got those massive stones up there. We're talking about structures that soared hundreds of feet into the sky, long before the invention of hydraulic lifts or even sturdy scaffolding. This is where the theories get really fascinating, and perhaps a little dizzying if you think too hard about the logistics. The most widely accepted theory, and one that many historians still cling to with a quiet devotion, involves the use of ramps. Imagine a giant winding road, built of mud brick, rubble and timber, slowly spiraling upwards around the growing pyramid. Or perhaps a straight ramp extending directly from the quarry, growing taller as the pyramid gained height. It sounds simple enough, right? Just build a ramp and push stones up it. But the reality is far more complex and, frankly, a bit mind-boggling. Consider the sheer scale of such a ramp. To reach the top of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which originally stood over 146 meters tall, a straight ramp would need to be incredibly long to maintain a manageable incline for dragging heavy stones. We're talking about a ramp that would stretch for well over a kilometer, possibly requiring more material to build than the pyramid itself. You can almost hear the ancient Egyptian engineers scratching their heads, muttering, "We're building a ramp for a pyramid, or a pyramid for a ramp." This logistical nightmare led to the development of alternative ramp theories. One popular idea is the spiral ramp theory. Imagine a ramp that corkscrews its way around the exterior of the pyramid, gradually ascending. This would reduce the overall length of the ramp needed and keep it contained within the construction site. You can almost see the teams of workers grunting and straining, slowly ascending this winding path, a continuous chain of human effort. It's like an ancient, much slower version of a multi-story car park, but with a lot more dust and a distinct lack of convenient parking spots. Another intriguing variant is the internal ramp theory. This suggests that as the pyramid grew, a ramp system was built inside the pyramid itself, perhaps winding upwards through a series of galleries or passages. This would have hidden the ramp from view, preserving the clean exterior of the pyramid as it rose. The idea is captivating, almost like a secret internal staircase for the stones. Some evidence, like subtle changes in the angles of certain passages, has been interpreted by some as supporting this theory. It's the kind of architectural secret that would make any modern escape room designer green with envy. Regardless of the ramp type, the core mechanism remained the same: sledges pulled by teams of men. Picture a team of perhaps 20, 50, or even 100 men straining against thick ropes, their muscles taut, their bare feet digging into the rough surface of the ramp. To reduce friction, The path beneath the sledge would likely have been lubricated with water, or perhaps even a layer of slippery clay. Imagine walking uphill on a constantly wet, muddy path while pulling something the weight of an SUV. Your calves would be screaming, and you'd probably invent a new kind of ancient expletive. One fascinating detail that many people overlook is the angle of the ramp. If it was too steep, it would be impossible to drag the heavy stones. If it was too shallow, it would be too long and require too much material. The sweet spot was likely a gentle incline, perhaps around 6 to 8 degrees, allowing for the maximum weight to be pulled with reasonable effort. This required precise calculations and a keen understanding of applied physics, long before Newton was even a twinkle in his ancestor's eye. Many historians still debate the exact configuration of the ramps, with proponents for each theory presenting compelling, albeit often circumstantial evidence. Was it a single long straight ramp, a series of shorter interconnected ramps, or an ingenious internal system? The absence of definitive archaeological remains of these colossal ramp structures, understandably, as they were likely dismantled and reused once the pyramid was complete, keeps the debate alive, adding another layer of mystery to the construction process. It's like trying to reconstruct your grandmother's secret cookie recipe from a single crumb and a vague memory. As the last light fades from the horizon, you can almost hear the echoes of rhythmic chanting, the collective breath of thousands of workers pushing and pulling slowly, inexorably moving mountains of stone heavenward. The ramps, whatever their form, were not just engineering marvels. They were arteries of human effort, pathways to eternity, built with sweat, grit, and an unwavering belief in the divine journey of their pharaoh. It makes you wonder what kind of ramps we are building today, leading to our own modern monuments, whatever they may be. The desert night has fully settled in, and a canopy of 1,000,000 stars twinkles above, far brighter than anything you'd see in a light-polluted city. It's impossible not to feel a sense of profound wonder as you gaze up, and perhaps a hint of understanding dawns on you. The ancient Egyptians didn't just build these pyramids, they built them in alignment with something far grander, the cosmos itself. You might not immediately connect pyramid building with advanced mathematics and astronomy, but these disciplines were absolutely fundamental. Imagine the high priests and scribes not just sketching designs on papyrus, but meticulously charting the stars. They weren't just building a tomb, they were building a celestial map, a pathway for the pharaoh's soul to ascend to the heavens and join the gods. This wasn't just about bricks and mortar, it was about connecting the earthly realm with the divine. Consider the cardinal point alignment of the pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its sides are almost perfectly aligned with true north, south, east, and west. We're talking about an accuracy that rivals modern surveying techniques. How did they achieve this without compasses or GPS? It's believed they used astronomical observations, specifically focusing on the circumpolar stars, those stars that never set below the horizon. By observing their apparent rotation around a fixed point in the night sky, they could pinpoint true north with astonishing precision. It's like using the Big Dipper as your personal, incredibly accurate compass, only instead of finding a campsite, you're orienting a mega-structure to the cosmos. Then there's the Pythagorean theorem, a fundamental principle of geometry that you probably learned in school. While Pythagoras lived much later, the Egyptians were effectively using its principles in their construction. They understood right angles, slopes, and ratios. You might spot a master builder using a simple rope with knots at precise intervals, a rope stretcher, to lay out perfect right angles for the base of the pyramid. This isn't rocket science, but it's foundational geometry applied on a colossal scale, allowing them to create perfectly square bases that span acres of land. It's like constructing your entire house with only a tape measure and a string, and somehow it ends up perfectly plumb. The mathematics extended beyond just geometry. They had a sophisticated understanding of fractions, arithmetic, and even a rudimentary form of algebra. These weren't abstract concepts. They were practical tools used for calculating the volume of stone needed, the number of workers required, and the precise angle of the pyramid's face. Every angle, every dimension, every ratio had a meaning, often imbued with symbolic or religious significance. It's a reminder that even thousands of years ago people were crunching numbers, though probably with less caffeine and more hieroglyphs. One intriguing, though often debated aspect is the golden ratio, or phi, approximately 10^6. Some researchers believe that the proportions of the Great Pyramid subtly incorporate this mathematical constant, found throughout nature and art, often associated with beauty and harmony. While the evidence is circumstantial and hotly contested, by many Egyptologists, it adds a poetic layer to the mathematical prowess attributed to the ancient builders. It's like finding a secret, elegant code hidden within the very fabric of the structure, whispering secrets of ancient design philosophy. Many historians still debate the specific methods used to survey and lay out the vast pyramid base with such precision. Was it a single grand astronomical observation at the very beginning, or a continuous process of refinement throughout the construction? The sheer scale of the task, combined with the lack of modern tools, continues to baffle and inspire contemporary engineers. It's a bit like trying to figure out how your great-grandma baked that perfect cake without a measuring cup, only on a scale of millions of tons of stone. As you look up at the imaginary stars, you realize that the pyramids weren't just piles of stone. They were incredibly precise instruments, calibrated to the heavens, designed to facilitate a divine journey. The knowledge of the ancient Egyptians, often romanticized or underestimated, was profound and practical. It was a fusion of science, spirituality, and relentless human effort, all aimed at one singular, colossal goal, ensuring the pharaoh's immortality. It makes you wonder what subtle, hidden geometries might be influencing the buildings around you right now, quietly connecting them to something bigger than themselves. The desert breeze, which now feels like a gentle sigh, whispers across your face as your thoughts drift from the precision of the stars to the fluidity of a life-giving force. Water. You might be surprised to learn that beyond its obvious role as a source of drinking water for the workers, the mighty Nile, and water in general, might have played a far more ingenious role in the construction of these titanic structures. Imagine the sheer physical exertion of dragging multi-ton stone blocks across dry, uneven terrain. Even with wooden sledges, the friction would have been immense. This is where a simple yet incredibly effective technique comes into play: lubrication with water. You envision teams of workers, not just pulling, but also pouring water onto the sand in front of the sledges. The water would effectively turn the sand into a semi-liquid medium, significantly reducing friction and making it much easier to slide the enormous blocks. It's like trying to move a heavy wardrobe across a carpet versus sliding it across a polished wooden floor. The difference is night and day. Archaeologists have even found evidence supporting this theory, including reliefs depicting workers pouring water in front of sledges. It's a beautifully elegant solution, utilizing a readily available resource to overcome a massive physical challenge. You can almost hear the squelching sound as the water meets the sand, followed by the satisfying scrape of the sledge as it glides forward with newfound ease. It's a testament to their practical ingenuity, proving that sometimes the simplest trick is the best. Beyond simple lubrication, some more ambitious theories propose an even greater role for water. One captivating idea, often discussed in hushed tones among enthusiasts, is the concept of using flotation or hydraulic principles. Imagine a network of internal shafts or chambers within the pyramid itself, which could be flooded with water. Stone blocks, perhaps specially designed to be buoyant, could then be floated into position, or at least moved with significantly less effort than dragging them up a ramp. It sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, doesn't it? Building a pyramid that doubles as an ancient water park. While direct archaeological evidence for such elaborate internal water systems is scarce, the Egyptians certainly understood basic hydraulic principles. They built sophisticated irrigation systems for agriculture and controlled the annual flooding of the Nile with remarkable skill. So the concept isn't entirely beyond their intellectual grasp. It's a tantalizing what-if that continues to spark the imaginations of engineers and historians alike. It's like finding a secret blueprint for a flying car in an old attic. You don't know if it actually worked, but the idea itself is exhilarating. You recall the earlier mention of potential artificial canals to bring the barges closer to the site. This too is an extension of their masterful control over water. During the flood season, when the Nile rose, these temporary canals could have been used not just for transport, but perhaps even for leveling the base of the pyramid. By filling a perimeter ditch with water, they could establish a perfectly horizontal line, ensuring the foundation was absolutely level, a crucial first step for such a massive and precise structure. It's an ingenious workaround for surveying tools that were, by modern standards, incredibly rudimentary. Many historians still debate the extent to which water was used beyond simple lubrication on the ramps. Could there have been more complex, water-based mechanisms, perhaps involving counterweights and water-filled chambers, that aided in lifting the heaviest stones? While direct proof remains elusive, the constant presence and understanding of the Nile's power in Egyptian life makes such theories plausible, even if unproven. It's like trying to guess your grandmother's secret ingredient for her famous soup. You know it's something subtle, but you just can't quite pinpoint it. As the quiet of the desert night deepens, you can almost hear the soft sloshing of water, the gentle glissade of stone on wet sand. The ancient Egyptians didn't just build with stone, they built with a profound understanding of their environment, harnessing the very elements around them. Water, that seemingly simple substance, was transformed in their hands from a source of life into a silent, powerful partner in the creation of eternity. It makes you reflect on the hidden helpers in your own life, those seemingly ordinary elements that quietly support your grandest endeavors. The stillness of the desert night encourages a deeper contemplation, moving beyond the physical acts of lifting and hauling to the very heart of why these monumental structures were built. It wasn't just about showing off the pharaoh's power, or even about providing a fancy tomb. The pyramids were, at their core, profound expressions of ancient Egyptian spiritual beliefs and their understanding of the afterlife. Imagine, if you will, the pharaoh, not merely as a king, but as a living God, the intermediary between humanity and the divine. His death wasn't an end, but a transition, a journey to join the gods in the celestial realm. The pyramid, therefore, wasn't just a grave. It was a cosmic launching pad, a grand stairway to the heavens, meticulously designed to ensure his successful rebirth and eternal reign. You can almost feel the weight of that spiritual purpose, far heavier than any stone block. It's a bit like building the most elaborate, custom-designed spaceship imaginable, but for a journey of the soul rather than the body. The interior of the pyramid, though often seemingly sparse to modern eyes, was meticulously planned to aid this transition. The burial chambers were not just rooms, they were sacred spaces, imbued with symbolic meaning. The sarcophagus, often carved from a single immense block of granite, was designed to protect the pharaoh's body, which was essential for his spirit, or Kai and Ba, to return and inhabit it in the afterlife. Imagine spending eternity tucked away in a giant stone sleeping bag. Sounds cozy, right? Beyond the pharaoh's physical remains, the pyramids were filled with grave goods, everything the pharaoh might need in the afterlife. This ranged from practical items like furniture, clothing, food, to elaborate jewelry, statues, and even chariots. It was believed that these items, imbued with spiritual essence, would accompany the pharaoh into the next world, ensuring his comfort and continued existence. You can almost hear the ancient Egyptian version of a moving checklist. Got the royal toothbrush? Check. Eternal snacks? Double check. Enough gold to bribe the gods? Triple check. One fascinating aspect is the false door concept. Often carved into the walls of tombs, though less prominent in the grand pyramids themselves, these false doors were not for physical entry, but rather symbolic gateways through which the ka of the deceased could pass between the land of the living and the land of the dead to receive offerings. It's a subtle reminder that for the Egyptians, the boundaries between worlds were far more permeable than we perceive them today. It's like having a special invisible VIP entrance to the afterlife, just for the pharaoh. The very shape of the pyramid itself held profound symbolic meaning. It is thought to represent the primeval mound, the first land to emerge from the waters of chaos in their creation myth, symbolizing creation and rebirth. It also represents the rays of the sun, reaching down to earth, providing a path for the pharaoh to ascend to Re, the sun god. Every angle, every stone, whispered of cosmology and divinity. It's a spiritual blueprint, etched in stone, designed for eternity. Many historians still debate the precise theological reasons behind the transition from earlier mastaba tombs to the stepped pyramids, and finally to the true pyramid shape. Was it a gradual evolution of religious thought, or a sudden divinely inspired innovation? The subtleties of ancient Egyptian theology are vast and complex, leaving plenty of room for academic contemplation and quiet reflection. It's like trying to understand the full meaning of a complex dream. There are layers upon layers, and sometimes no single interpretation is entirely complete. As the silence of the desert envelops you, you can almost feel the spiritual energy emanating from these ancient structures. They weren't just monuments to a king, they were monumental prayers, built with unwavering faith, designed to bridge the gap between mortal life and eternal divinity. The purpose of the pyramid wasn't just construction, it was transformation, ensuring the pharaoh's immortal journey, and the continued stability of Egypt itself. It makes you wonder what kind of spiritual structures we build today, perhaps less visibly grand, but just as deeply rooted in our own beliefs about life, death, and what comes next. The desert night sky, now a velvet expanse studded with countless jewels, invites you to consider not just what we know about the pyramids, but also what remains stubbornly, wonderfully mysterious. Despite centuries of study, these ancient wonders still hold secrets, sparking wild theories and quiet scholarly debates. It's almost as if they're deliberately keeping some things to themselves, just to keep us on our toes. Imagine, if you will, the whispers among the workers at the end of a long day. Beyond the practicalities of stone and ramp, there must have been theories, superstitions, and perhaps even a sense of awe at the seemingly impossible task before them. While we have much archaeological evidence, there are still tantalizing gaps in our understanding, leading to some truly imaginative and sometimes outlandish ideas about how the pyramids came to be. One of the most persistent and captivating mysteries involves the concept of lost ancient technology. You've probably heard the theories. Advanced civilizations, perhaps from Atlantis or even extraterrestrial visitors, lending their superior knowledge to the Egyptians. While mainstream archaeology firmly rejects these notions, the allure of a hidden, highly advanced past remains powerful. It's hard to look at the precision of the pyramids and not wonder if there was something more than just copper chisels and brute force. It's like trying to explain how your smart fridge works to someone from the 18th century. They'd probably think it's magic. Think about the sheer impossibility of moving the massive granite blocks in the king's chamber, some weighing up to 80 tons, through narrow passages and then raising them to their final height. Even with all our modern machinery, it would be an immense challenge. The internal ramp theory offers a plausible explanation, but the fine details of execution still leave room for wonder. Was there a system of levers, counterweights, or perhaps even a primitive form of sand hydraulics that we haven't fully understood? Many historians still debate the specific methods for lifting these heaviest stones into their final resting places within the pyramid's core. It's the ultimate ancient engineering puzzle, one that continues to stump the brightest minds. Another, intriguing though less common, theory focuses on the use of geopolymer concrete. This proposes that some of the pyramid blocks weren't carved from natural stone at all, but rather cast on site using a form of ancient concrete made from readily available materials like limestone, clay, and natron. Proponents of this theory point to certain anomalies in the chemical composition of some blocks and a lack of tool marks on others. While most mainstream Egyptologists view the evidence as inconclusive, it's a compelling idea that would certainly explain the precision and uniformity of certain sections. It's like discovering that your grandmother's secret recipe for bricks actually involved baking them in a giant oven, not just stacking them up. Then there are the more esoteric theories, delving into the pyramid's supposed energetic properties. Some believe the shape itself acts as a kind of antenna, concentrating cosmic energy, or that the pyramids were power generators for a lost civilization. While these ideas venture far beyond archaeological evidence into the realm of pseudoscience, They reflect humanity's deep-seated need to find grand, almost mystical explanations for things we don't fully comprehend. It's the kind of thought that might drift into your mind just before sleep, blending logic with the fantastical. You might also consider the water shaft theories, suggesting that the descending passages within the pyramids were not merely for accessing chambers, but perhaps part of a complex system to manage groundwater, or even to provide a primitive form of air conditioning. While this isn't directly related to construction, it hints at an even deeper understanding of the environment and engineering than we typically credit the ancients with. Many historians still debate the exact methods used for quarrying, transporting, and precisely placing the very top capstone or pyramidion of the Great Pyramid. Was it dragged up the final ramp, or hoisted into place using some form of specialized scaffolding? The lack of clear historical records describing this final, crucial step leaves room for much speculation and gentle dreaming about the pinnacle of this ancient achievement. It's the finishing touch on a masterpiece, and yet the how remains shrouded in a quiet veil of mystery. As the desert night deepens, the vast, silent forms of the pyramids stand as enduring symbols of human ambition, ingenuity, and a profound engagement with the unknown. They are not just structures, they are questions etched in stone, forever inviting us to wonder, to theorize, and to gently push the boundaries of what we think we know. It makes you realize that sometimes the most comforting thoughts are those that embrace the beautiful, enduring mysteries of the world. The cool desert air, now carrying the scent of distant tamarisk trees, brings a new layer to our exploration of the pyramids, their hidden defenses. These weren't just grand monuments. They were also the most secure vaults of their time, designed to protect the pharaoh's mummified body and his priceless treasures from the most persistent and often successful threat: tomb robbers. Imagine a king so powerful, he needed a fortress for his eternal sleep. You might think of elaborate traps and curses straight out of an adventure movie, and while the reality might be less dramatic than booby traps with rolling boulders, the Egyptians certainly employed ingenious methods to deter intruders. Their primary goal was to make entry as difficult and time-consuming as possible, hoping that sheer frustration or the fear of being caught would be enough to ward off most would-be plunderers. It's like designing a puzzle box so complex, the thief gives up and just goes home to watch TV. One of the most effective yet simple security measures was the sheer weight and number of blocking stones. After the pharaoh's burial, the passages leading to the burial chamber would be sealed with massive granite plugs, often lowered from above into specially designed grooves. Imagine trying to remove a stone block weighing several tons without modern lifting equipment. It's a Herculean task, requiring immense effort, time, and a lot of noise, all things a discreet tomb robber would want to avoid. You can almost hear the grunts of exasperation from a frustrated thief, trying to chisel through what feels like an entire mountain. Then there were the false passages and blind shafts. Some pyramids, like the Great Pyramid, feature multiple internal pathways, some leading to dead ends, others dropping sharply into deep, empty pits. These were designed to confuse and disorient intruders, forcing them to waste precious time and resources exploring futile routes. It's the ancient equivalent of a complex maze, complete with dead ends and unexpected drops, designed to make you feel utterly lost, even if you had a map. You might also consider the ingenious use of portcullis stones. These were massive slabs of granite, often weighing several tons, suspended above a passage by ropes. Once the burial was complete, the ropes would be cut, allowing the stone to drop and seal the passage with a resounding thud. Imagine being on the wrong side of that. It's an incredibly effective one-way security system, ensuring that once sealed, the chamber remained undisturbed. It's like a giant, ancient guillotine, but for blocking passageways rather than, well, anything else. One fascinating, though less common theory suggests the use of sand-filled chambers as a deterrent. Imagine a chamber above a passage, filled with tons of sand. If disturbed, the sand would pour down, completely filling the passage below, effectively burying any intruders. While direct evidence for this specific mechanism is rare in pyramids, the concept demonstrates their understanding of engineering and environmental elements as defensive tools. It's like building your own personal quicksand trap, but on a grand, architectural scale. Many historians still debate the effectiveness of these defensive measures. While some pyramids were indeed successfully plundered in antiquity, others, like the tomb of Tutankhamun, though not in a pyramid, remained undiscovered for millennia, proving that sometimes the simplest concealment is the most effective. Was it the sheer scale of the defenses, or simply the shifting sands of time that swallowed them from memory, protecting them from the greedy hands of man? The answers remain as elusive as the treasures themselves. As you drift closer to sleep, you can almost feel the silent vigilance of these ancient structures, designed not just to house a king, but to guard his journey to eternity. The security measures weren't just about preventing theft. They were about preserving a sacred ritual, ensuring the pharaoh's immortality against all odds. It makes you think about what we try to protect most fiercely in our own lives, and the intricate, sometimes hidden ways we go about safeguarding what we hold most precious. The pyramids, even in their silent, slumbering state, are a reminder of humanity's enduring desire for security, even in the face of eternity. The cool desert night, now deepening, invites reflection on a more subtle yet equally impressive aspect of pyramid construction, the sheer passage of time and the incredible human endurance it represented. These weren't quick builds, they were multi-generational projects spanning decades, sometimes even a century or more. Imagine starting a project that you knew you wouldn't live to see finished. It puts your own long-term goals into perspective, doesn't it? You might think of modern construction, where skyscrapers seem to sprout from the earth in mere months. But the pyramids, with their gargantuan scale and primitive tools, demanded a level of patience and perseverance almost unimaginable today. The Great Pyramid, for instance, is estimated to have taken around 20 years to complete. A blink of an eye in geological time, but an entire generation for the humans involved. This wasn't just a job, it was a significant portion of many people's lives. You can almost feel the slow, relentless rhythm of work, day after day, year after year, building something that would outlast empires. Consider the seasonal nature of the labor, as we discussed earlier. This meant the work wasn't continuous year-round. There were periods of intense activity during the Nile's flood season, followed by quieter times when farmers returned to their fields. This ebb and flow of labor, while seemingly inefficient by modern standards, likely allowed for recuperation and maintaining a sustained workforce over the long haul. It was a marathon, not a sprint, and they paced themselves accordingly. It's like your favorite long-running TV series. You might have breaks between seasons, but the overall story keeps going. One of the most striking aspects is the consistency of design and execution over such extended periods. Imagine a single architectural vision being maintained by successive generations of master builders and pharaohs. This wasn't just about passing down blueprints, it was about transmitting knowledge, techniques, and the underlying spiritual purpose across decades. It required incredible institutional memory and a deep reverence for tradition. It's like trying to get your family to agree on a single recipe for holiday dinner for 50 years, let alone building a monument of this scale. You might also consider the psychological impact of such a long-term project. For many workers, the pyramid they were building would likely be the only major construction project of their entire lives. Their children, and perhaps even their grandchildren, might continue the work. This created a unique sense of shared purpose, a collective identity tied to the rising monument. It instilled a sense of pride, knowing they were contributing to something truly eternal, something that would define their civilization for millennia. It's a kind of legacy building that few modern jobs can offer. Many historians still debate the specific methods used to manage and motivate such a vast workforce over such extended periods. Was it purely religious fervor, the promise of sustenance, or a combination of incentives and social structures? The sheer scale of the logistical challenge, both human and material, continues to be a source of wonder and academic inquiry. It's like trying to organize a massive family reunion that lasts for a generation. There are bound to be a few logistical hiccups along the way. As the quiet of the desert night deepens, you can almost feel the echoes of those countless years of labor, the accumulated effort of generations etched into every stone. The pyramids stand not just as monuments to pharaohs, but as testaments to the incredible endurance and long-term vision of an entire civilization. They remind us that some of the greatest achievements are born not of haste, but of patient, unwavering commitment, one painstaking block at a time. It makes you wonder what grand long-term projects you might be quietly contributing to in your own life, building something that will truly last. As the stars continue their silent journey across the vast Egyptian sky, your thoughts turn to the minds behind the monumental effort, the architects and planners. These individuals were the unsung heroes, the intellectual backbone of the pyramid. Age, translating a pharaoh's divine ambition into a tangible, awe-inspiring reality. It wasn't just about moving stones, it was about moving ideas, from concept to colossal completion. Imagine a scene not of dusty laborers, but of a quiet, illuminated chamber. Here, the master architect, a figure of immense prestige and knowledge, would be poring over papyrus scrolls, perhaps sketching designs with careful precision. This wasn't just artistic vision, it was a blend of geometry, mathematics, and a profound understanding of structural integrity. He was the chief engineer, the spiritual advisor, and probably the world's first true project manager, all rolled into one. You can almost feel the quiet intensity of his focus, the weight of a civilization's ambition resting on his intellectual shoulders. These architects, often high-ranking officials or even members of the royal family, were not just drawing pretty pictures. They were meticulously calculating angles, slopes, and volumes. They understood the properties of different types of stone and how to best use them. They envisioned the complex internal passages and chambers long before the first stone was even quarried. It's like designing an entire city block by block, room by room, all in your head, before anyone even breaks ground. Your average house architect would probably need a lie-down just thinking about it. Consider the intricate planning process. Before a single block was laid, the entire pyramid would have been surveyed and laid out with astonishing accuracy. We discussed the astronomical alignments earlier, but imagine translating those celestial observations into precise lines on the ground over acres of uneven desert. This required teams of skilled surveyors, using simple tools like ropes, measuring, poles and water levels, yet achieving results that mystify modern engineers. It was a kind of ancient GPS system, but instead of satellites, they had the stars. One fascinating, often overlooked aspect is the concept of pyramid texts and other inscriptions found within the pyramids. While not blueprints in the modern sense, these texts reveal the profound religious and magical purposes behind the structures, guiding the architect's design and reinforcing the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. The architect wasn't just building a tomb. He was building a sacred cosmology in stone, integrating religious belief with engineering principles. It's like writing a spiritual manifesto and then building a giant monument to house it. Many historians still debate the extent to which detailed architectural plans were drawn and shared. Were they elaborate blueprints or more akin to schematic diagrams passed down through generations of master builders, with much of the detail held in their collective knowledge and experience? The absence of a complete surviving master plan for the Great Pyramid keeps this question alive, adding to the allure of these ancient geniuses. It's like trying to bake a cake from a recipe that only lists the ingredients, not the baking steps. As the quiet of the desert night deepens, you can almost sense the whispers of those ancient planners, their minds meticulously crafting these enduring testaments to human ambition and divine purpose. The architects were the dreamers and the doers, the visionaries who dared to imagine mountains of stone reaching for the stars, and then found the way to make it happen. It makes you wonder about the hidden plans and silent visions that guide the construction of our own modern world, perhaps just as intricate and awe-inspiring, if only we knew how to read them. As the deep stillness of the desert night begins its slow transition towards dawn, your thoughts turn from the grand designs and heavy lifting to a more fundamental yet equally complex challenge: sustaining the thousands of lives that built these colossal structures. Imagine a bustling temporary city rising from the desert, entirely dedicated to the pyramid project. This wasn't just a construction site, it was a self-sufficient ecosystem, requiring meticulous planning for the most basic human needs, food and water. You might picture endless lines of workers, parched and hungry, toiling under the relentless sun. But the reality was far more organized. The pharaoh, in his pragmatic wisdom, understood that a well-fed workforce was an efficient workforce. This wasn't charity, it was sound economic planning. The workers, as we touched upon, were paid in rations, primarily grain, for bread and beer, fish, and some vegetables. Imagine waking up to the aroma of freshly baked bread wafting across the desert camp, a staple that provided the necessary calories for a day of strenuous labor. Consider the sheer scale of the bakeries and breweries needed to feed and water such a massive population. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of enormous purpose-built facilities near the pyramid sites, capable of producing thousands of loaves of bread and gallons of beer daily. These weren't just small-scale operations, they were industrial-sized. Food production centers running around the clock. You can almost hear the rhythmic grinding of grain, the bubbling of fermentation vats, and the distant clatter of pots and pans. It's like a colossal ancient catering service, dedicated solely to feeding pyramid builders. And then there was water. In the scorching desert, water was arguably more vital than food. The Nile, of course, was the ultimate source. But getting water from the river to the sprawling construction camps and quenching the thirst of tens of thousands of workers and animals required a sophisticated distribution system. Think about it. Water carriers, perhaps using large pottery jars or leather, skins, constantly moving back and forth, ensuring a steady supply. It's a bit like managing a modern bottled water delivery service, but without the trucks or the plastic bottles. One fascinating detail that often gets overlooked is the seasonal availability of certain foods. While grain was a year-round staple, fresh meat and fish would have been more abundant during specific seasons. This meant careful planning for preservation, possibly through salting or drying, to ensure a consistent diet for the workers regardless of the time of year. It's a testament to their understanding of resource management and their ability to adapt to environmental cycles. You'd think with all that effort, they might have invented a decent refrigerator. Many historians still debate the exact daily, caloric intake of the average pyramid worker and how variations in diet might have affected their performance and health over long periods. While we have a general understanding of their staple foods, the nuances of their nutrition continue to be a source of academic discussion and gentle speculation. It's like trying to figure out the precise nutritional value of your ancestors' favorite dishes without any recipes or food labels. As the first faint streaks of pre-dawn light appear on the horizon, you can almost hear the distant murmurs, the ancient camp coming to life, the promise of a fresh loaf of bread and a cool drink of water, signaling the start of another day of monumental effort. The logistical challenge of feeding and watering such a vast workforce was a silent, unsung triumph, as crucial to the pyramid's construction as any ramp or chisel. It reminds us that even the grandest human endeavors are built upon the most basic needs, meticulously met. It makes you appreciate that morning coffee, perhaps just a little bit more, knowing the lengths they went to just to get a drink. The stars begin to fade as the first hint of dawn paints the eastern sky, and a melancholic thought begins to surface. As grand and enduring as the pyramids are, the civilization that built them, like all great powers, eventually faced its own decline. The era of colossal pyramid building, a golden age of pharaonic might and unparalleled engineering, didn't last forever. Even the mightiest empires eventually succumb to the slow, relentless march of time, much like how your perfectly organized sock drawer eventually devolves into chaos. Imagine the vast expenditures of resources, not just stone and labor, but food, timber, and administrative effort, required to sustain these monumental projects for decades. While the early pyramid builders were incredibly efficient, maintaining such a scale of investment over centuries placed an enormous strain on the economy and the populace. It was a bit like running a massive, never-ending public works project, but with the added pressure of ensuring the pharaoh's eternal afterlife. One significant factor in the decline of pyramid building was the decentralization of power. As the Old Kingdom waned, the power of the pharaoh began to diminish, and local nomarchs, regional governors, gained increasing autonomy. With less centralized control and wealth, the grand unified national projects like the colossal pyramids became harder to initiate and sustain. It was like a shift from a powerful CEO running a monolithic corporation to a series of independent franchises, each with its own smaller ambitions. You might also consider the changing religious beliefs and practices. While the concept of the pharaoh's divinity remained, the focus of the afterlife shifted somewhat. Later, pharaohs and nobles began to favor less conspicuous rock-cut tombs in places like the Valley of the Kings. These tombs, though still richly adorned, required far less raw material and labor than a massive stone pyramid. Perhaps they realized that a giant stone beacon in the desert was also a giant, obvious target for tomb robbers. It was a strategic shift, a subtle acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, bigger wasn't always better for eternal rest. Another subtle yet impactful reason could have been environmental factors. While the Nile was bountiful, periods of lower flooding, known as low Nile events, could lead to poorer harvests, putting stress on the food supply needed to feed a large non-agricultural workforce. Even a few bad years could have ripple effects, impacting the ability to mobilize and sustain thousands of laborers. It's a quiet reminder that even the most powerful civilizations are ultimately dependent on the delicate balance of nature. Many historians still debate the precise sequence of events and the relative importance of each factor leading to the end of the Great Pyramid building age. Was it primarily economic strain, political fragmentation, a shift in religious thought, or a combination of all these elements? The answers are complex, interwoven threads in the tapestry of ancient Egyptian history. It's like trying to figure out exactly why your favorite restaurant closed down. There's rarely just one reason, and often many contributing factors. As the pre-dawn light brightens, you can almost feel the quiet exhaustion of an empire that poured its heart and soul into building for eternity. The age of the colossal pyramids eventually faded, not with a bang, but with a gradual, almost imperceptible shift, making way for new forms of monumental expression. It reminds us that even the most dominant eras eventually yield to the currents of change, and that every grand chapter has its end, making way for new beginnings. But the structures remain silent witnesses to a bygone era of unparalleled ambition. As the first golden rays of the sun kiss the very tips of the pyramids, painting them in a soft, ethereal glow, you feel a profound sense of awe at their enduring presence. Though the age of their construction has long passed, their legacy, their silent story, continues to echo through millennia, captivating minds and inspiring wonder. These aren't just ancient ruins. They are timeless testaments to human ingenuity and ambition. Imagine for a moment the sheer passage of time that these structures have witnessed. They stood tall through the rise and fall of countless empires, through the eras of Roman legions, Arab caliphates, and Ottoman sultans. They saw Napoleon's armies march past and witnessed the birth of the modern world. Every grain of sand that swirls around their bases carries the weight of centuries. It's like your favorite old worn-out armchair. It's seen a lot, heard a lot, and still stands strong. The pyramids' enduring presence isn't just about their physical resilience. It's about their cultural and symbolic impact. They are instantly recognizable global icons, synonymous with Egypt itself. They represent mystery, ancient wisdom, and the monumental scale of human endeavor. They've inspired artists, writers, filmmakers, and dreamers for generations, proving that some stories, etched in stone, never truly fade. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more recognizable silhouette in the entire history of mankind. Think about the sheer amount of knowledge we've gained by studying them. The pyramids and the surrounding archaeological sites have offered unparalleled insights into ancient Egyptian life, their beliefs, their social structures, and their incredible technological capabilities. They are living textbooks, constantly revealing new secrets to persistent researchers. It's like a giant ancient hard drive, slowly revealing its stored information piece by piece. One fascinating aspect of their legacy is how they continue to inspire engineering and architectural challenges even today. Modern engineers often look to the pyramids, marveling at their precision and scale, pondering how they could achieve such feats with such rudimentary tools. They serve as a reminder that fundamental principles of physics and geometry are timeless, and that human ingenuity can overcome seemingly impossible obstacles. It's like finding a solution to a complex math problem using only mental arithmetic. Impressive, even if you have a calculator. Many historians still debate the specific interpretations of the symbolism and astronomical alignments within the pyramids. Are there deeper meanings or simply the pragmatic applications of their knowledge? The layered complexity of their design and purpose continues to invite new theories and further study, ensuring that the pyramids remain a vibrant field of ongoing discovery, never fully revealing all their secrets. It's like a never-ending riddle, inviting you to ponder its meaning long after you first heard it. As the sun fully rises, bathing the entire landscape in a warm, golden glow, you can almost feel the quiet power emanating from these ancient giants. They are more than just tombs. They are monuments to time itself, whispers of a civilization that built for eternity, and a testament to the enduring human spirit. They remind us that even after millennia, some creations continue to stand, silently inviting us to wonder, to learn and to dream. And perhaps as you drift off to sleep, a little piece of that ancient Egyptian ingenuity will settle into your own dreams, inspiring something wonderfully enduring of your own.